Sophie Cunningham is half laughing and half hurting in that moment. She talks about pouring money into making her place feel like home, only to get told a week and a half later that she'd been traded.
Yeah. Good vibes.
Obviously, the art is all off your walls. Those are looking pretty naked.
Yeah. I have barely anywhere to do anything. So I'm trying to get organized.
Are you mourning, like, leaving that apartment?
Honestly, kind of sad. It's like leaving a little era and like the house I had, but it was so cute and I made it really homey and cozy. Spent way too much money like furnishing it. And then like...
You can't spend too much money making your apartment feel like home.
Then she jokes that as a pro athlete, you shouldn't decorate unless you have a 3-year contract in front of you. Underneath the joke is the real story. She knows how fragile job security is in this league, and she's already thinking about the next contract as her real home. For the Fever, that matters, because when a vet openly says she wants a bigger deal and a stable situation, it tells you she's entering a phase where she'll prioritize security and role. For the WNBA, it's another reminder that even established players live with constant uncertainty, and that impact how honest they are when free agency comes around.
Don't ever feel bad for like investing into your like space.
Yeah, Wes, I would agree with you. But then a week and a half later, I got told I was being traded. And so
that part's tough. That part.
Yeah. Spent a lot of money.
I should say if you're a pro athlete, actually do not decorate your house until you have a fucking 3-year contract in front of you. Then you can.
Just don't buy one. So but I do think I did buy all of it and I love it. And I think the next team I play for, I want a bigger contract. So then I can buy a house and be homey and cozy.
When Sophie says, the next team I play for, I want a bigger contract, then casually drops names like the Liberty and the Lynx, that's not random. That's a player saying out loud that she sees herself on the open market and she's willing to move for money, market, or fit. For Indiana, it means any offer has to be competitive and probably multi-year if they want to feel like more than a stop along the way. It also signals where the league is going. Role players and stretch guards who can hit shots and bring personality now expect to be paid accordingly in bigger media markets or on contenders. The Fever can't just assume vibes alone will keep her.
Ow, that's crazy. That could be the Liberty, it could be New York City, it could also be the Lynx, and it could be Minneapolis. Like, you just don't know.
It could be anywhere.
Altogether, Sophie's comments paint her as honest about the business and very aware of her leverage. She wants a home, but she wants it tied to a real contract and a real role, whether that's Indiana, New York, Minnesota, or somewhere else. For the Fever, that means if they see her as part of a long-term core, they have to treat her like it in negotiations. If not, she's exactly the kind of player who could end up as a depth piece on a super team and make them pay for letting her walk. Her situation is the perfect lead-in to someone on the other end of the spectrum. Lexi Hull, who's just hitting restricted free agency and trying to figure out her place in all this.
This offseason's very uncertain for the entire league in general, but you're a free agent for the first time. Have you thought about what free agency might look like for you if you'd like to then?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a restricted free agent, so I think that changes things a little bit, but I've loved my years here in Indiana. So obviously with a lot of uncertainty, you don't know what's to come, but I've built a life here, and I love this franchise. I love the people, I love the fans, so.
Lexi Hull's tone here is steady but honest. She makes it clear she's a restricted free agent, which means Indiana can match any offer she gets. She also says she's built a life in Indianapolis and loves the franchise, the people, and the fans. That matters a lot. It tells you she's not looking to run from the Fever. She's open to staying if the numbers and role make sense. For the team, this is the kind of situation front offices dream of: a young wing defender who can guard up with shooting that's still growing, who actually wants to be there while they still control her rights. For the league, it shows how restricted free agency keeps power tilted toward teams, even as players become more outspoken about wanting fair value.
You're going to be playing unrivaled, so what is exciting you about that, and what other plans do you have for the offseason? How do you hope to continue to add to your game and ahead of next year?
Yeah, I'm really excited about Unrivaled. I'm excited about the new players they've added, the expansion that's happening there too. It's a great opportunity for us to get in the gym and play a different game. 3-on-3 is different. It's fun. It's fast. I'm looking forward to that. And I think from now until then, definitely going to enjoy a little bit of a break. But I'll be staying in the area, so being able to just train. Our coaches will be here. Just get better, get stronger, get more effective offensively. There's a lot of areas I think to improve. There always is. So I'm just excited about the opportunity to get better heading into next season.
In this next clip, Lexi talks about playing in Unrivaled and staying in the Indy area to train, get stronger, and become more effective offensively. That's exactly what the Fever need from her. She's already a high-energy defender and cutter. If her shot and creation bump up even a little, she becomes a must-keep rotation piece for a contender. It also shows how modern WNBA off-seasons work. Players stack leagues like Unrivaled and individual skill work instead of just grinding overseas, trying to come back fresher and more polished. Combined with her comments about the league's growth and the coming CBA, you get a picture of a player who sees herself rising with the WNBA. That sets up perfectly for the face of the Fever's future and one of the league's centerpieces, Aaliyah Boston.
This offseason, you're back on Unrivaled, saw news about your broadcasting. Kind of what else do you have planned? And for Unrivaled and broadcasting specifically, I guess on the court, what are you hoping to get out of Unrivaled again? Broadcasting, what excites you about being back and behind the camera?
I love talking about basketball, so I'll start with the broadcasting part. I'm just super excited. I think it's always a great opportunity for me, so being able to just see the young talent that's going to be coming up and talk about them and hype them up, I feel like that's my favorite part. And when it comes to Unrivaled, I'm super excited to be back. I think just last year being able to work in that space, being able to show a little bit more of my game and then let it translate into the W season, I'm really excited for.
You're obviously still under contract with the team, but this team, the whole league, there's so much uncertainty with free agents abound. Do you hope that this is, that you guys can run back mostly the same group, even though again so much uncertainty? And how do you, I guess, as one of the certainties of this process, approach an off season with so many question marks?
Yeah, honestly, I definitely would. I think this group was just so special, and you can always think about the what ifs, right? Like, what if half our squad didn't get hurt, or what if we had our point guards, and what if, and so it's really crazy. I think about how far we made it this season with so much that happened, and just imagining what it would have been like with everyone being healthy. And I know our GM and our president are going to do a great job going into this off season. I'm excited to just be a vocal point and just be able to communicate what I'm thinking, how I feel. But honestly, I'm excited for what's to come.
Aaliyah Boston sounds like a franchise player who understands both her power and the uncertainty around her. She talks about going back to Unrivaled, doing broadcasting, and then shift straight into the Fever's roster questions. She's under contract, but she makes it clear she wants this same group back, and she can't stop thinking about the what-ifs of a fully healthy roster. Then she says she's excited to be a focal point and to communicate what she's thinking to the front office. That's huge. The Fever aren't just building around Aaliyah's talent. They're treating her like a partner in shaping the roster. For the WNBA, it's a sign of where stars are headed. Not just faces of the franchise, but active voices in personnel decisions.
All right, well, all eyes are turned towards 2026 and the players who will make up that team. The Fever only have 3 players under contract for next season: yourself, Caitlin Clark, and Michaela Timpson. Your free agents are Kelsey Mitchell, Natasha Howard, Lexi Hull, Sophie Cunningham, Dantis, Sydney Colson, Turner, McDonald, Odyssey Sims, Chloe Bibby. Obviously, a lot of these are strategic because of the CBA and the expiring CBA and people wanting to capitalize on the contracts that are expected to rise. This is expected to be one of the most pivotal off seasons in WNBA history. And along with negotiating a new collective bargaining agreement that expires October 31st, there's 2 new teams in Toronto and Portland that will join the league, and you'll have to hold an expansion draft. I believe that both teams picking will leave less players on the roster, from what I can imagine. So figuring out which players that you're going to protect while only having 3 under contract, it's wild. So this is going to be an exciting offseason to pay attention to.
It's going to be very interesting. I think, obviously, I'm super excited for the 2 new teams that we have coming in, though. It's going to be a great opportunity.
The second Aaliyah clip lays out the whole landscape. By 2026, only 3 Fever players are under contract: Aaliyah, Caitlin Clark, and Michaela Timpson. Everyone else is hitting free agency or lining their deals up around the new CBA, while expansion in Toronto and Portland will pull talent away in the draft. Aaliyah calls it wild, but also says she's excited. That's important. She knows the league is about to change, rosters are going to get squeezed, and still she sees opportunity. For Indiana, it underlines one thing. Everything they do this offseason has to protect that core of Boston and Clark and make them feel like this is the franchise to chase titles with. And that brings us to the player who connects the Fever's past to their possible future more than anyone else: Kelsey Mitchell.
Kelsey, this is a question kind of looking ahead, being a free agent, having an off season ahead of you. There's obviously uncertainty across the board, across the league. Have you put any thought into, what you think you might, wish for, 2026 for yourself, whether you'd like to be back or anything along those lines?
I hope we got a league. So for that, I hope that when it's all said and done, we can, have a season period for all the girls, for every person that's, aspirations to be in the league and be in the W. I think for one, that's the start, being on the same page with that. Bless you. Being on the same page for that and kind of just, making sure we have a league to start. No matter what happens, having a league is kind of big for us. And I think individually for me, I'm gonna take my time, figure out what my family needs. Losing a parent is a big shift. And so, I take in consideration how my mom feels now. I take in consideration how my siblings and, my intermediate family. My dad's mom is still alive, my grandmother, and so that's big for me. And so, family is big for me. And so I think talking to them and figuring out what's best for us and for what I need internally is always going to be important. And I think that takes time. But I will say to Indiana Fever, like 8 years, it's going to be a lot to talk about because I have so much love and so much aspiration for this place. And I think when the time is right, the great conversations will be had. But Indy is my second family and everything I've been through the last 8 years. I don't think Indianapolis, Indiana, I don't think there's any other place that was greater for me, the growth and all that. So I think the right conversations will be had. And when it's time, I guess we'll all know.
That's time for one more question about it.
Kelsey Mitchell is as honest as it gets here. First, she zooms out and says she just hopes the league is still playing after the CBA talks, which shows you how real that uncertainty feels to players. Then she zooms in on her own life. She talks about losing a parent, making decisions with her family in mind, and then turns back to Indiana. 8 years with the Fever, calling Indy her second family, saying there's no better place for her growth. She doesn't promise anything, but she keeps coming back to how much this franchise means to her. For the Fever, that's a massive opening. She's an all-WNBA level scorer in her prime who loves the city. For the WNBA, it's a reminder that free agency decisions are emotional, not just numbers on a cap sheet.
And Amber just made it clear to us that you will be the top priority. So this Fever team that started the season was so much different from the Fever team that ended the season. And there's not even room on the roster for all the players who made contributions to this team. So how curious are you about what this Fever team is going to look like next year?
Man, like you said, it's a lot of great questions. Some of it, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't even have control or know anything about, so I'll leave that to Steph, Amber, and all those guys. But to every person that contributed, I would like to think that whatever team that was at the end, whatever team that was in the middle, whatever team was at the beginning, I would like to think that our culture was so big and so great that every person is gonna have somewhere where they can show and be themselves based off what the Fever did this year. And I like to think that we put ourselves in a position to kind of be in conversation for what we all need individually. So to every lady, I think that was a part of our group this year, I think great things will happen for us. I think a lot of it's gonna fall on, the league itself, the expansion. It's a lot of uncontrollable variables that we have to take in consideration here. And so I wanna say that, I think that Fever is gonna do the best for the Fever, and I think that they're gonna put the best pieces in the room for us. So, hats off to the organization for hopefully figuring it out.
Thank you.
Of course.
In the last clip, You can hear how Kelsey sees the bigger picture. She admits she doesn't control what the roster looks like and leaves that to Steph White and GM Amber Nichols. But she keeps hammering culture. She believes every player who came through this year should end up somewhere they can be themselves because of what the Fever did. Then she points at all the uncontrollable stuff coming. Expansion, CBA changes, tighter roster spots. Her faith is that the Fever will do what's best for the Fever and put the right pieces around that core. That's exactly where her own situation lives. Kelsey is an unrestricted free agent, meaning she can sign anywhere, but Indiana can offer more years and money than almost anyone else and has already called her a top priority. Every report and every quote from the front office lines up with that. The expectation around the league is that the Fever will push hard to bring her back on a multi-year max or near-max deal that lines up with the new CBA money. Lexi Hull's situation is different. She's a restricted free agent, so Indiana can match any offer sheet she signs. She's a valuable defender who has grown every year and clearly wants to stay. Most observers expect the Fever to keep her, either by agreeing to a deal before she signs an offer sheet or by matching one quickly. It probably ends up as a shorter contract, maybe 2 years, that keeps flexibility while the new cap landscape settles. Sophie Cunningham is trickier. Her comments make it clear she wants a bigger contract and is open to landing somewhere like New York or Minnesota. She's a solid rotation guard, a floor spacer, and brings energy and personality that plays well in big markets and on TV. The Fever can absolutely keep her if they want, but they have to decide how much they're willing to pay for a player who may want a larger role than they can promise once Clark, Mitchell, Boston, and Timpson eat most of the touches. Some reports and general league chatter point to Indiana valuing her, but not at a price that would lock them in long-term if the market gets aggressive. Aaliyah Boston sits at the center of all this with Caitlin Clark. She isn't a free agent yet, but everything she says tells you she expects to be consulted on how the roster is built. She's going into her prime on a rookie-scale deal that will eventually become a supermax-level extension under the new CBA. The Fever's job is simple on paper and hard in practice. Keep their all-WNBA big happy, healthy, and surrounded by enough talent to compete with super teams that will form after expansion. That means re-signing Kelsey Mitchell. It likely means keeping Lexi Hull as a defensive glue player. It could mean keeping Sophie if the price and role fit, but that's where tough choices come in. So, is it in Indiana's best interest to keep all of these key players? From a chemistry standpoint, yes. This group just pushed the defending champs to 5 games while missing multiple starters, and everybody in these clips keeps talking about how special the locker room was. But when you zoom out to 2026, the Fever have to think like a contender. Boston and Clark will get expensive. Timpson will need a new deal if she develops as expected. The cap will rise, but so will salaries across the board. In that world, the most realistic outcome is that they lock in Mitchell and Boston long-term, keep Hull on a reasonable deal, and stay flexible with players like Cunningham, depending on how the market shapes up. My read, based on what's been said publicly and how these players talk here, is this. Kelsey Mitchell re-signs and becomes part of the core that leads the Fever into the expansion era. Lexi Hull stays because her defense and willingness to accept a role are exactly what you want next to stars. Aaliyah Boston is already the franchise, and nothing about her tone suggests she wants to be anywhere else. Sophie Cunningham is the wild card. Indiana will try to keep her, but if a franchise like New York decides they want her spacing and swagger and throws big money or years at her, the Fever may have to walk away to protect their future cap. If that's how it plays out, Indiana's 2026 season could be the start of a long run near the top of the league. A core of Clark, Mitchell, Boston, Timpson, and a few hard-nosed role players like Hull is good enough to contend if they hit on depth and stay healthy. Add in the momentum of the league growing, 2 new markets in Toronto and Portland, and a new CBA that should finally pay stars closer to what they're worth, and the Fever are positioned to be one of the faces of the WNBA for the next decade. The only way that happens, though, is if they make the right calls in this offseason that all these players keep hinting at. If you enjoyed this breakdown and you want more deep dives on the Fever and the WNBA, make sure you like the video, hit subscribe, drop a comment with which player you think is most important to re-sign, and turn on notifications so you don't miss anything.